Hello, so this is Mentor Dawechi. As you can see, my brand name, that is Mentor Dawechi. So I'm back again. Don't worry about my video resolution. Nimekaa against the light, unaona. Nafaa nikae the other way around, but nimeamua tu nikae hivyo. So don't worry about the quality of the video. It's because of the light. I'm against the light. So I just want to talk about something that has been troubling me in my mind, or I've been thinking about. So why is it that when people try to start something, they find themselves choosing to quit rather than grind? Mbona like inakuaga like it's so easy for people to choose quitting over grinding? When I was trying to find out the answers, in the pursuit of trying to find the answers, I realized that this is something that is psychological. It's a problem with the mindset. It's a problem psychologically. Reason being, we have been conditioned since we were born. From the very time we were born, we were conditioned to think in a different way. That's the system. It's the matrix. That's why people say try to escape the matrix, because when you are inside the matrix, there is a way that society or the system forces you, not even forces, but compels you to think. Okay, so you find that since we were born, the values that were instilled on us, the lessons that we were taught, the stories that we were given, the syllabuses in the school were programmed, or they are put like that by the system to program us to think in a certain way. For instance, let me give you an example. Right from the past, everyone has this thing in their mind that go to school, get a job, study hard, get good grades, go to campus or college, do your best, get the best grades ever, go looking for a job, become salaried or have your salary, get a loan, build a house, buy a car, marry, then wait to die, or retire then die. Okay, the die part, I'm adding about the dying part. So the dying part is that when you fall into that, you end up dying a very poor person and a very boring death. Why? Because there is no time. Salary can never be enough. I don't want to talk about the part of salary for now. I just want to talk about the system itself. So you'll find that each and every person were programmed to think that way. That's why our parents always pushes us to think the same way. Our grandparents always thought about it. Our parents thought about it. Whatever that was in their mind was go to school and stuff. And that's what they are trying also to push to us to do the same. Why? Because it's a system that has always been there. Okay, right from those eras, or what do we call that era? Yeah, right from those eras, and this is something that made sense in those days. What do we call industrial age? Those time of industrial age. That time it made sense, because I can remember like those times our grandparents, they used to be employed even before they finished their college, or they just finished their colleges or university. Then the moment they are graduating, they have a job instantly. And that's where the idea of go to school, get good grades, perform so well, go to school, perform well and get a job came from. Why? Because it was so simple for you to get a job. The only thing you needed is to go to college, go to school, then immediately you are finishing or you are graduating, you knew that the job was waiting for you, because the number of graduates, or the ratio of graduates is to job opportunities was like 1:10, you see, or 1:2, let's say 1:2. So you find that that time it made sense, but today it doesn't make sense, because the ratio of graduates to what do we call it, to job opportunity is very low. So that doesn't make sense today. So what I was trying to drive home is, the moment you find yourself working inside the matrix, you'll never find yourself growing. Okay, you'll never find yourself making bold steps. So my question was, why is it that many people find it easy to quit when they start something? For our case now, we're talking about business, because it's not about job opportunity. I don't want us to talk about salary or job opportunities. No, we're talking about business. Why is it that most people, when they start a business, it's so easy for them to want to quit rather than want to grind for success? And there is this something that I learned, that it's something so psychological, that because of the system, we were taught to think on a certain way. So when you come to grinding, it's so hard. When you look at your background, another thing I also want to bring about something else. When you look at something else is that some of the people come from poor families or stable, let's say middle class families. Some come from rich families. You'll realize that in rich families or wealthy families always raise children who know how to create more wealth. Why? Because the topic about money is taught at home, not in school, but at home. So a wealthy family produces children who knows how to raise wealth. When you come to middle class raises the children who know how to go to school, get good jobs, and also get a job themselves. Okay? Because the topic of money is taught at home. Poor family, there is always a generation of kids who tend to make poor families. I don't know whether I'm speaking it right. What I'm trying to mean is, in a poor family, you'll find that there is a generation from generations of poor people. Why? Because the topic of money is taught at home. So when you were born, you started to gain these values. You started to get these core beliefs because of the conditioning of the environment. That's why when you listen to these big people, they'll tell you that your environment matters a lot to your success. So because of the environment, you'll find that these kids, they were conditioned to be poor. What the familiar feeling they have is poverty. So when you start introducing business to someone who has a poor mindset, they cannot make it in this business unless they try to work on themselves first. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to mean. How? Why is it so hard for poor people with a poor mindset, to make it in business? This is why. Because this person has a familiar emotion in their mind, and the familiar emotion is poverty. Familiar emotion is being poor. They are used to being poor every time. They are used to not have money. They are used to just live a lowly life. So when you start giving them a job opportunity whereby they have to grind, they have to learn new skill sets, they have to think of sales, they have to try and prospect and close people to gain these customers, or to be able to sell. So it becomes so hard for them to do it, because this is a new emotion inside their mind. So they are not used to this new thing. So their mind chooses to work with the familiar emotion inside themselves, and the familiar emotion is poverty. So this person unconsciously chooses not to grind, chooses to quit, because quitting is easy. You just have to say, I don't want to do it, I'm just going to quit, and that's all. You see? So this person chooses to quit because quitting comes along with the familiar feeling. Which is the familiar feeling? The familiar feeling is, I'm used to being poor rather than trying to struggle. So that's the main thing as to why many people quit instead of trying to work hard to make it. That's why I normally tell people, instead of trying to talk to people on what to do this do this, or when you, or I'm speaking to you, when you venture into a business, okay, don't focus so much on what must I do to see results. What must I do? What must I do? What must I do? What must I do? What am I supposed to do? Instead, start cultivating your mind to think differently. To think differently. Because when you venture in a new field, you can't see results. You can't see results unless you work on yourself. You have to work on yourself first. Get new core beliefs. Get new way of thinking, seeing things in a new perspective or in another perspective. Okay, for you to be able to see results. Why am I saying this? There is a certain person I heard him say. In fact, this is a very rich person in the world, a very wealthy man, and he was saying there is no time your business will ever grow beyond your level of mindset. I want to repeat that. There is no time your business will ever grow beyond your level of mindset. So if you see yourself making 10,000, it means your level of thinking is at 10,000. If you see yourself making millions, it's because your level of thinking is millions. I want to support my answer. I also had someone else say, also a wealthy person, and was saying that we have a difference between millionaires and people with millions. We have a difference between someone with millions and someone who is a millionaire. And the big difference is the mind. A millionaire is a millionaire by his or her state of mind. A millionaire in the mind has the ability to create more wealth using the money he or she has. That's why when you give someone 100,000, he can be able to compound it to 10 million. He can be able to multiply 100,000 to 10 million. That's a millionaire in the mind. But we have these people, especially, let me give a good example. These people who win lottery, like Sport Pesa. Let's say someone got 100, let someone who won like a million. Why is it that these people, within a span of 2 years, they go back to their original state, which is poverty? Because their mindset was a poor mindset. And therefore, they were not millionaires, even though they won a lottery of millions. What happens is that they only had millions. They had millions, but they were not millionaires. And therefore, it means that their mind operates here. So they have this money, but they operate here. So what normally happens, they can't think when they are here. Their money must go down back to their level of thinking, let's say 50,000. And when now they have 50,000, that's when they will start thinking about, whoa, I need to invest, I need to do this, I need to do this, because their level of thinking is here. They can't think when here. So again, that supports my answer. You have to work on yourself first before you think of what you must do. There is also this person who's called Robert Kiyosaki in his book, is it Rich Dad Poor Dad or Cash Flow Quadrant, one of them. And he said that, it's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he said, before working, there are two things you have to do before you have. For you to have, you must become, then you do. You must be, then you do. And he said, be. Becoming is much more important than doing, because it's through who you become that helps you to do what you must do. Unless you become, you can't do. Unless you become, you can't do. So what I'm trying to tell you is that for you to see change in your business, stop focusing on what you must do. Instead, try focusing on who must I become. And this will help you to see results in your business. I'm trying to address those, my friends, my colleagues in network marketing. As you can see, I'm mentored Awechi. I do network network marketing platforms. By the way, these things, majority of people with a poor mindset, sorry to say, they perceive them as scam, but they aren't scam. But it's just because of their mindset preparation. I'll talk about that in another video. So I'm talking to my family and telling them, for you to see results, you have to work on yourself first. But I'll still expound on this. I want to talk about the principle of mirror later in another video. But for today, let me settle at that. So guys, all the best. Try to work on the little that you've had. I'm going to post this video without any edits, just to post it as raw as it is. I know sometimes it's so hard to try and explain something, but I hope you understand. I'm not going to edit it, so it's just going to be as raw as you will find it. So guys, all the best. Now get out there and try it out.